Today I'm going to be working on fixing a crooked door. This is 1 in 5 videos in a series on how to fix this crooked door. Stick around and watch the beginning steps, how to get this done the right way.
Does this happen in your house? Today, I'm going to show you how to reset a door. My house is 105 years old. It has settled, and I'm going to show you how to fix it and get it so that it operates really well for the future. This is my bathroom door. My door was way out because the house had settled and it had pushed the knob side down. Someone was smart and cut the door crooked, so I first straightened this out. That's how much of a difference. It was about I think an inch I cut off this side of the jamb. So in doing so, I needed to remove the trim, and then I'll reset my trim. I'm in the midst of plastering the whole house anyways, so that's fine. But when I do, I really want to make sure that my jamb is nice and secure. I've shimmed it, nailed it in place. It's not going to move. This is only 2 hinges. So there we go, that's put in place, and I'll probably have to shim this in or out to make it work. But now that I've lowered the hinge side, I've got to first start by straightening out the top of my door, and then I don't want to mortise the hinges again on the door. Too much damage has already been done, so I'm going to mortise the hinges on the jamb where it needs to fit. So this is what the bathroom door looks like from the inside. As you can see, this is now level and these are now plumb, but I've got to fit the door after I cut it square, raising and lowering it so that I have ideally an 1/8 inch margin. I want to go an 1/8. I could make it a little bit tighter, but these are solid wood doors on a solid wood jamb in a solid wood house. It's gonna expand and contract, it's gonna move. Right now it's the winter. So in the winter, we have our dry season. In the summer here in Virginia, humidity goes up to 100% in the mornings, drops down to about 45% in the afternoons. So all the doors are gonna swell. So I wanna make sure that I've got that taken into consideration. In the summertime, I probably want to go less, like maybe a 1/16. And then, so then in the wintertime, it will shrink and I'll still end up with about that 1/8. That's about what it's going to do. So here's the bathroom door, and someone's cut it from 3 1/4 to 3 3/4. So they've cut it better than a 1/2 inch and made this crooked. That's not how you solve this problem. So now what I've got to do is go back in and make this straight. Because I've lowered the hinge side down, I'm probably going to end up having to cut the bottom too, so I'll measure that. I'll show you how to cut it. But here, this is where Rochelle has already stripped so much of the paint and varnish. There's still some repairs to make. I can make them along the way. We're in motion now, so we're getting this done. And here's a board that Rochelle's just finished stripping, a casing, which will go here. Okay. All right, let's go cut this door. I've measured the distance. I know that on my saw, from the blade to this side of the plate, is 5 inches. So at the shortest point, I measured 5 inches, and then I carried that on over to there. Probably want to check to see if it's square, because I'm measuring off this top rail, the edge of this top rail, and it is square. After Rochelle stripped this door, I completely took the door apart and I ended up putting it back together. I glued it with polyurethane glue, which is Gorilla Glue. You can see the foam still there. So I'm going to use this fence. I like using this. If this were a door I mean, this door is so damaged right here, I'm not really concerned about it. When the blade of a saw rotates, it's gonna tear up the fibers on the wood. So if you have a solid wood door like this one, and you're gonna try to make it so that it's clear finish, stain it or clear, you have to use a different method for cutting the door. I can show you that in another video if you're interested. Leave the comment below and ask for that, or any other video. But in this particular case, I've got so much damage here from when the last person who cut this, it chipped all out. And it's probably also from them trying to slam the door in the jamb and it just tearing the fibers out. So what I'm going to use is this fence. Works really well. It's adjustable. Then that doesn't move anywhere. That came out really nice. It's also interesting to see the construction of the door. So where the stile was meeting the rail, they had put a biscuit, that's what I would call it, another piece of wood to join it together. And interestingly enough, these doors, 105 years old, this is not a solid wood door, it is a veneered door. So that is a veneered wood door panel. I've never seen that before. It's pretty interesting. It's like a sheet of plywood. So when you think that plywood was made in the 50s, here it is, 1915. And you can see how it was torn up from before. And here I had a little bit of a tear, not much. But if that was a solid wood door and I was going to try to do a clear finish, that really is unacceptable. Now you've got to turn around and fill this up. I'm going to Bondo all of this anyways, and I have a lot of damage on the other side. And then here, where the dog was locked into the bathroom, he tried to claw himself out. And so I'm going to fix all that and all these veneer props. So now that the door is cut, I'm going to measure the door. I know they didn't cut the bottom, but remember I lowered the hinge side by 1 inch. So I've got 77 inches there, both sides. So now I'm going to go upstairs and take a look and see how much room I have. So I just want to double check, make sure the door is square. I got a nice square edge on the top of my door where I've cut it. Looking good. So my measurement downstairs, the actual door is 77 inches. And here I have exactly 77 inches.
So I've cut the door 3/4 of an inch short. I took into consideration if the floor was unlevel and if I needed to add some extra space for an air return. I don't have an air return. I'm using a mini split heating and cooling system. So 3/4 of an inch is where I made the cut. So here I'm installing the door, and the first thing I wanted to do was see that it actually fit in the jamb like I intended it to. It did fit in. I used a hammer and a pry bar and jacked up the door. And when I jacked the door up, I could mark off the hinges from the door to the jamb. So I can mark off the hinges I'm not going to mortise out the door. I'm going to mortise out the jamb. And so I have to raise up where the old mortise was. I want to make sure that there's enough space in my door. And so here you see where I've chiseled out, and now I'm putting the hinge in place and giving it marks. I'm going to pilot hole these. This is old heart pine, and if I don't pilot hole these and I run the old-fashioned screws, it will split the door jamb. Don't want that. So I'm using two different size drill bits. The first one is for the shaft itself, and then the second one all the way through is much smaller. That's the first one I'm going to drill, the smaller drill bit, and then I'll come back and just touch a little bit so that I don't crack or split that door jamb. Here I've got the screw, and you can see that the end of the screw is smaller, and where you put your screwdriver is thicker. So I matched the diameter of the smaller to the shaft so that the threads are showing. And then I'm going to get another drill bit, and I'm going to drill that one so that that shaft where it meets the screwdriver slot won't split the door jamb. So here I've got a old-time Yankee screwdriver. This Yankee screwdriver has a lot of power you can put behind it. It ratchets, and it really lets you put some muscle into that screw. These old screws, that's how they were installed, and so I pulled out some old tools to get these screws in correctly. So here I've already mounted the hinges on the door. Now what I'm going to do is put the butt and the hinge pins in place. And so now on the jamb, I've put the top hinge already in place so that all I have to do is lift the door, put it in the already mounted top hinge, put the hinge pin in, and then I can relax for half a second.
Okay. Put that there. Yay. That was a good fit. First time. Now we're going to see how it fits. Okay. It's a little bit hinge bound. I've got this huge gap here. Okay, I got a big gap. I mean, put my finger in there. So I like to use these cedar shims, and I'm going to pry that up. Great tool. Okay. That's pretty nice. How's that looking? We're getting there. Okay. That is really nice. I like that. I got a little bit of a hinge bound, but that's okay. It's not really springing hard, but that way when I close and the lock catches in the catch, it'll stay closed. What I'm just checking for is to see if my jamb aligns with my door. If my door stop is only touching at the top or the bottom, then I may need to adjust the jamb or take off the door stop and adjust it to the door. This one, I don't have to adjust at all. It's really nice. So I'm really pleased with how that's went. So now I'm going to take off my hinges, my shims, and put my trim on. That door closes nice. So now I'm going to put the lock on and attach the catch.
This was the first video. The next video is stripping and installing the casing. It's the second of 5 videos in this series. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.